Most people have no idea how simple it actually is to get ahead. Not because life is easy, but because most people don't do anything with their free time. They finish with work or studying, go home, scroll for hours, and then wonder why nothing changes. I'm Salim, I work full-time as a doctor living in London, often doing 12-hour shifts, but I still use my evenings to grow this channel, practice piano, train at the gym, and build a life I'm actually proud of. And in this video, I'll break down 4 brutal truths, the exact mindset shifts and practical advice that'll help you get ahead of 99% of people. And even if you only follow 2 of them, you will put yourself ahead of most, so be sure to watch until the end. So let me start with a personal example. A few years ago in med school, I was broke. I didn't have any savings and I didn't really have a safety net. I was just in med school keeping up with placements and lectures, wondering why life felt unfair, especially when I was working hard. And I'd come up with excuses, blaming the system, thinking that they should be paying us for these hospital placements. But that mindset didn't help, and if anything was trapping me, because when I blamed the system or the world, I gave away any power I had. And that's when I realized the first brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for the motivation, waiting for the right time, for somebody to tell them they're ready. But the truth is, no one's going to hand you discipline or a better life or more time. The people that get ahead aren't necessarily luckier or smarter, they're just the ones who decided that they're responsible for everything. And that builds power rather than pressure, because once you take full ownership, you stop waiting and start building. So if you feel stuck right now, ask yourself, what's one part of my life I always blame someone else for? And then flip this to yourself. If this part of your life was fully on you, what would you do next? Make these actions things you can control. Don't just manifest success, because that won't help. Be specific with what you can do, whether that's saying you'll spend 30 minutes on a project or studying, or finally uploading that YouTube video. This is the momentum you can control, and it's a step towards getting ahead of most people. It's how I've been able to grow this YouTube channel and spend time coaching some of you on top of working full time. Once you start taking full ownership, the next thing you'll notice is how much of your mental energy is being wasted every single day. Most people don't realize it, but their mind is being hijacked by useless noise. They scroll through TikTok, binge YouTube, half listen to podcasts, and by the end of the week, nothing sticks. This is junk food for your brain. It's easy to consume, instantly forgettable, and addictive enough to keep you coming back. And if you do that every day, you're not just wasting time and not learning anything, you're also just training your brain to forget what matters. But the people who get ahead do the opposite. Rather than trying to remember and consume everything, they instead build a second brain. A second brain is just an external system. It's a digital workspace where you store your best thoughts, insights, and lessons so that they're not lost. Because a lot of the time, most good ideas don't come when you're actively looking for them. They show up randomly then disappear a few minutes later unless you capture them. So having a second brain is giving those ideas somewhere to stay. It helps free up your real brain to think more clearly so that you'll have the capacity to come to these ideas later. And this doesn't need to be complicated. When I started, I just had a single Google Doc and a Notion page where I'd save my YouTube ideas, reflections I didn't want to forget, or anything else I had on my mind. And then each week, I'd go back through it and pull out anything worth acting on or organizing. Over time, that one habit became a system I could actually trust. And it's one of the reasons I've been able to keep this channel going while working full-time as a doctor and manage everything else in my life. This is one of the biggest differences between most people and those that are ahead. While everyone else is busy feeding their minds junk and forgetting everything by tomorrow, you'll be building a tool that helps you think sharper and work smarter, so that you remember more and spot connections and ideas that others miss. So all you have to do is start to save one idea a day and give it somewhere to live, whether on a physical note or somewhere digitally. Because if your ideas have nowhere to go, they disappear, but if they have a place to stay, then they become something you can come back to and act on. I've lost count of how many times I've been mid-task and suddenly had a coaching insight or a script idea, and it was this habit that helped me turn those scattered thoughts into something real, and over time it will help you do the same. And now, all of this should hopefully make you realize how low the bar actually is. Most people finish work, eat dinner, scroll on their phone, and then go to bed. And they do that 5 days a week for years. And when you zoom out, it means that they're doing almost nothing to move forward in life. And it's not that they're being dumb or lazy, but what they are doing is normalizing spending all their free time recovering from work or studies instead of building something with that time. But what this means is that to get ahead of these people, You don't need to be exceptional, you just need to be intentional. If you spend even 30 to 60 minutes doing anything productive in the evening, building a side project, going to the gym, building a skill, you instantly separate yourself from the 99% who aren't even in the game, all because you showed up when other people wouldn't. And the best part about this is that the progress doesn't stay linear. 1 hour a night becomes 7 a week, or 365 hours a year. That's enough to change your lifestyle, to have taken action on a business, or to have learned a new skill. So this compounding effect doesn't come from grinding 10 hours a day. It's just doing a small amount consistently while others would do nothing. I still remember when I first committed to using just 1 hour a day to work on my YouTube channel, or an hour a day to practice the piano. At the time, I didn't want to do it because I felt tired, but I knew that an hour of time isn't actually much and that the consistency would pay off, which it has. So rather than believing that you need to work harder and spend all day doing something, just lower your threshold. Commit to doing something that is reasonable for you, even if it's just for 20 minutes. If you can keep that up while other people are stuck in the typical cycle, then it'll only be a matter of time before you're far ahead. And now, before the next point, if you're interested in one-to-one coaching with me, visit my website linked in the description. I've helped over 40 clients build sustainable systems to improve their productivity, studying, and stress management. The goal isn't quick fixes. I'm here to help you build habits and systems so solid that you won't need coaching ever again. So if you want coaching or want to learn more, check out the link in the description. So now you've taken full ownership, you've stopped wasting your thoughts, and you've seen how even 30 focused minutes can change your trajectory. But to make all of this stick, there's one deeper shift that brings it together, and it's about a key realization I've had recently. Most people try to manage their time to be more productive, but the people who actually get ahead do more than just that, because they also redesign who they believe they are. Because if your identity is stuck in the past, then all of these habits I've mentioned won't last. They won't feel natural. You'll always feel like you're forcing productivity instead of just being someone who naturally does the work. Back in med school, I remember trying so hard to be productive in the evenings. I'd block out time to revise, start projects, and brainstorm new ideas, but deep down I still saw myself as just another student trying to do a bit more, and because of that, every evening felt like I was going against who I was. But when I shifted my mindset, my feelings towards this changed. Instead of asking how can I get more done or what more can I do, I started asking who do I want to become? And that looked like telling myself that I'm someone who learns every day, someone who does the hard work especially when I don't feel like it, or someone building a life that creates a net positive impact. And then each time I filmed a video, practiced piano, or wrote something, it felt like casting a vote for that version of me. And over time, that identity became stronger, such that it no longer felt like going against me, because it just became who I am. So instead of obsessing over the perfect plan or routine, focus on your identity, because when your actions reflect the kind of person you're trying to become, it starts becoming your default and makes it easy to build momentum. So the first point of taking ownership gives you control, the second brain gives you clarity, being intentional with your evenings gives you time, and an identity makes it natural for you to keep on going. These 4 shifts will put you ahead of 99% of people. But even with all of this, there's one problem that can still hold you back, and that's your mental health. I've had days where I was exhausted for no reason, couldn't focus, and felt like I'd lost all momentum. But I found a way to keep moving forward even on the hard days, so I wouldn't fall back into the same place again. And in this video here, I go through exactly how to work when your mental health is suffering, so that you can still do what matters even when you're struggling. So click the video to learn more.